Normally we start the press conference talking about the game and previewing the weekend, but the last 48 hours have been dominated by what's happened in Benfica regarding Real Madrid and also Vinicius Junior. In your career, you've spent a great deal of time speaking in depth about the importance of speaking up and speaking out against racism in the game. So how did you feel watching those events on Tuesday and what's happening?
It's upsetting. It's upsetting when anyone and there's context that needs to be had in terms of this situation. Always there has to be context to it. What I will say, you can see any form of racism in society, let alone football, is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I cannot speak about an incident where an investigation is ongoing. I won't speak about that incident. What I would say is when you see a player upset, how Vinicius Junior was upset, normally they're upset for a reason. I've been racially abused myself. I know people have been racially abused. And what people have to understand is when you are judged for something that you should be proud of, it is the worst feeling you can ever possibly imagine. There are historical things to racism. I need to, as manager of this unbelievable football club, make my statement on it. If any player or any coach or any manager is ever found guilty of racism, they shouldn't be in the game. Shouldn't be in the game. It's as simple as that for me. But what I will not do categorically is talk about one incident when there's an ongoing investigation.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But there's been a fallout since the event itself, and Jose Mourinho is somebody seeped into the history of this football club, the football club that you represent. You seem to give the impression that Vinicius Junior was provoked that situation himself. As manager to manager, what did you make of his comments and the way that Benfica handled the situation?
I don't think it's manager to manager, to be honest. And again, it's context. What I would say is regardless how a player celebrates, race should never come into it. That is an ongoing investigation. What I'm not going to do, I don't know the context of the situation. I don't know the context of in which Jose said what he said, and I won't make a judgment on it. It's the same thing. I won't make a judgment until you get the facts. It's difficult for me to make a judgment. But what I will say is if any player or any coach is ever found guilty of racism, he shouldn't be in the game. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, there were discrimination issues during the game on Friday, the whole discrimination issues on Tuesday. And you've been speaking for a long time. You know, I read your letter to Donald Trump, that was about 5 or 6 years ago. There's still a lot of work to do as a society. What would you like to see change going forward?
A lot of things. This is a very, very complex situation. We speak about discrimination or race or gender or anything. There are a lot of things that need to change in our society. I'm not talking about football. There's a lot of division. There's a lot of people in the media who make prejudgments on people or how they behave or who they are based on their sexual orientation, what country they come from, what religion they are, what color of skin they have. It sickens me, to be honest. I think it's a wider debate than just football. I think people need to be held a lot more accountable than they are at the moment in terms of social media, in terms of the press, to make sure that these things are stamped out, because everybody should be judged equally based on the content of the character.
I appreciate those answers. There is a game on Saturday, so we do need to speak about that. Can I therefore ask about team news? And
Yeah.
That's unfortunately that's one of the situations we're in. But can we ask about Marco Corella?
Yeah.
His situation?
Again, I can't give an exact time frame on Mark. He's suffered a hamstring injury. He suffered it before half time in the Leeds game. So for me, yeah, it's a real shame. Because he's an outstanding player, one of the best left backs in the world. But we have Jarrell, we have Malo who can play on that side. We've got really, really good players that can cover. And the sooner he gets back, the better.
Yeah. Can I ask about where we are with Cole Palmer and Reece James? Their minutes are being managed over the last couple of games. At what point would you need to stop managing those minutes?
Yeah, I've been asked that question a few times since I've been in. It's a really hypothetical question. It's based on day by day. How not just those two players, how each player feels. At the moment, they're both fully fit. They're both available for selection. They both trained really, really well today. And, you know, with those two players in your team, it makes you a really, really strong team.
Yeah, and just finally for me, can I ask about this Champions League race you played before Manchester United and Liverpool? In terms of Manchester United, you have a pretty identical record record in terms of the form book. Is it an advantage going first?
It's February.
Yeah.
It's February. There's plenty of time. I swear, I've not even considered what time we're playing. We need to win our game. It's as simple as that. We need to do our job, and it's not going to be. It's not going to be simple. Burnley went away to Crystal Palace and won. You watch Wolves. This is a strong league. You watch Wolves yesterday in their performance, and we have to take care of our business regardless of what time we play.
Thanks, Roger.
Hi, Liam. Hi. Just on what you just mentioned there, I was going to mention that obviously we saw Wolves last night. We saw West Ham digging out results recently. We saw Burnley fight back against Crystal Palace. How much of a warning is that to all the teams above them, even yourselves at the top, about complacency and about these teams are battling for their lives?
Yeah, I don't think it's just complacency. I thought Wolves were outstanding yesterday. I watched the game. This is such a strong league now. Every team can beat everyone. That's why the league is so close in terms of points between so many teams. What we have to do is we have to focus on our own performance. We have to make sure that we prepare ourselves right. But the way I like to do it is to be consistent in our process, whether we're playing Wolves, whether we're playing Burnley tomorrow, whether we're playing Manchester City, Arsenal. Our process is the same, and that has to be that way for you to be consistent in your performance.
Burnley obviously had that result against Palace, had disappointment in the cup as well, made a lot of changes there. Would it be wrong to perhaps read too much into
it's the beauty of the FA Cup. Credit to Mansfield. I know it's going to be a difficult game tomorrow, and it's as simple as that.
I was reading that your captain, Reece James, who you were talking about just now, has been chatting with John Terry quite a while. Is that something you welcome, him turning to someone who's got that experience? 100%.
100%. When you have people around the club, John is a legend of the football club. When you have people with the experiences, with the trophies that John's won and the experience he's got, it's an amazing thing for Reece to tap into, and that's a really, really positive thing.
Is that something you encourage?
100%.
Other players as well?
Yeah, anyone. You can learn from anyone, but learning from people who have been there and done it is the best way.
Thanks, Roger. Liam?
Hi, Liam. The squad have had a bit of a rest. We've seen pictures on social media, some of them wanted to buy a bit of downtime.
Yeah.
You remember what it was like to be a player in the midst of a busy season. How important is it to
Yeah.
find a little moment like this?
Yeah. I looked at the players' schedule over the last 18 months to 2 years. We've spoken about injuries and trying to maximise the availability of the group. I actually encouraged the players to go and get some sun. They have been at it non-stop for 18 months, and sometimes the best way to rejuvenate yourself, the best way to be fit and fresh is to switch off and take time. So that was my idea. I know people maybe question it if we don't win games after that, but in the moment I thought it was the right thing for the players considering the workload they've had.
Have you seen the right kind of reaction in terms of the intensity?
Yeah, I think they want more days off, so their training's been good for the last 2 days. Now, honestly, regardless of that, since I've been in, their level of, I keep saying this, engagement, the intensity in training, what they're giving me, it's been consistently excellent, and it needs to continue that way for us to be successful.
Thanks, Liam. Rob?
Hi, Liam. You were positive about Liam Delap's contribution at Hull. I mean, he's still only got 2 Chelsea goals. Is there such a thing as a good striker that doesn't score?
Yeah.
The work he's doing off the ball, creating space, moving defenders around, is helping the team.
100%. That's the first thing I look for in my strikers. I look for people who contribute to the team winning games of football, and Liam certainly did that against Hull, and he's done that in other games as well. So, yeah, all strikers want to score goals, of course. You know, that's why they play the game. That's what they love to do. But there's a lot more. You need 11 attackers and you need 11 defenders at all times. And Liam defends from the front amazingly well, and so does Zhao. They contribute to what has been a good record for us recently, and it has to continue.
I mean, it hasn't gone probably goals-wise, at least, as well as he and the club might have hoped this season, and there's obviously reasons for that with injury. Is it fair to think that some players, particularly young players coming into the league for the first time, deserve a second season nearly?
Yeah, I think that's clear. I think if you look at most players' careers, they're normally, when they join a club, it's the second season that they really take off. For Liam, he's had some really, really good performances, but also his rhythm's been interrupted with injury, his shoulder issue. So I'm really, really happy with Zhao. I'm really, really happy with Liam. I thought Mark Guillou, when we've called upon him, has been very good, and hopefully that needs to continue for us to be successful.